challenge in life is that you can't plan for everything. You don't necessarily know who you're going to meet, what circumstances you're going to fall into, but there are things that you can control. There are parts of your life, and specifically of your day, that you can set up in the right way so that everything you do is that much better. We have a tendency to give to other people in huge ways. We give our time, we give our money, we give our love. We give them oftentimes the kind of care that we personally need, and it limits us. It puts ourselves on the back burner. Today's episode is going to be all about your morning and evening routines and taking care of this critical time so that you can start to prioritize yourself and your own needs first so that when you serve, you only serve.
Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 16 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation and working with thousands of clients, we've found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset that aligns with your authenticity, integrity, and soul purpose, regardless of your past.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness. We don't shy away from the taboo topics like sex, hypnosis, meditation, and exploring altered states of consciousness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. So recently we taught a class inside the Elevated Life Club all on habits. And the interesting stat that stood out to me was that 98% of our life is built on our habits. Our routines that we do in our day-to-day life are an unconscious pattern that we've built and programmed ourselves for. So if you can create a bad habit, then you can create a good habit. And when I was talking to our assistant who helps us run the podcast, she said, I really think you should do an episode on your guys' morning and evening routines. That was also another masterclass we covered in the club. So we got to share, here's how we set up our life for success. Here's what we're thinking about, that we're programming ourselves to have good habits so that we can overcome the bad ones that we used to live by.
If you start off in the day on the right foot, you have a much greater chance of ending things on the right foot too. So if you're willing to program what happens right after you get out of sleep and what program happens right before you go to sleep, there's so much in your life that can change. A lot of us end up waking up tired, we're anxious, we're afraid. Many of us go to sleep in the same way. We're worried, we're trying to figure out what's going to happen tomorrow. How are we going to fail? How's it not going to work well for us? And so once we start to get out of those type of regular routines, we can start to relax and figure out what is that best thing that would serve us in the morning? What happens at the end of the night? What did my body need from me that I neglected from it? Did I stay up on my phone too long? Am I not sleeping long enough in the night? What are those things that are really going on in my head? And once you get a handle on that, you can do just about anything.
So when it comes to your morning routine, as someone who is constantly around people, serving people, whether it be behind the chair or coaching or going live and interacting with hundreds of people, it's really important for me to set up my day and start my day by filling my cup, because I know that the job that I am in requires me to give a lot of my creative energy, of my love, of my compassion, just like it pulls a lot out of me. And I know the same is true for you. So with that being said, if I don't take time to fill up my cup in the morning and do those things that light me up, that set me up for success in the day, that when I ask myself, what do I need today? When I take that radical responsibility and fill my cup up, I can serve so much better throughout the day. So setting yourself up for that sacred self-care time in the morning helps you to be better at your job, a better parent, a better lover, just being more present, honestly. So the morning routine really is about crafting what is it that you need to recharge your batteries, to empty or soothe your emotions, and to find your inner peace so that you can show up and serve on a bigger scale?
Yeah, what I love about this is the way that I think about the morning and the evening is that they're my time to be the most selfish. I am going to give to me 1,000,000%. I'm going to fill myself up. I'm going to do every single thing that I need. If I need to stand there and talk to the mirror to myself to make me feel better about myself, I'm going to do that. If I know that I've been skipping out on hydration, boom, I'm going to be working on water. If I haven't been getting enough sunlight, boom, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm thinking of it in terms of what is every single thing that I need. Do I need silence? Do I need meditation? Do I need breath work this morning? Have I been moving my body right lately? What am I missing out on minerals? Am I missing out on the amount of magnesium that I need? Like, what are the specific things that I know that I really need? And if you don't know those answers, you've got to be studying and figuring them out as much as you can. The way that you set yourself up early always ends up being how you perform. And so if I set myself up at the beginning of the day, eating what's right for me, doing what's right for me, thinking amazing thoughts, allowing myself to future pace a little bit so that I imagine my day happening just as perfectly as the way I want it to. If I open my eyes and look over at BRIT and in my head I think, oh my God, I'm waking up as the luckiest man ever, I'm going to live life differently. And so I'm doing that exact same mirror of everything in my evening. That way, during all the afternoon, the early evening, I can serve people to my maximum capacity. I can give everything of me. I can leave all of myself out there. I can perform work as well as I can. I can be completely engaged in conversation. I can be in the present moment. When I skip out on giving myself the nurturing that I need, I fail at everything. When I give myself the kind of love and care that I know I deserve, I perform at my best.
Mic drop over there. Holy moly. It's so true. And we feel guilty for that. We feel guilty for taking time for ourselves. And as you know, my mom had a stroke in 2012 that rocked my world and had me rethink how I was living my life. And one of the biggest changes looking back over time is that consistent self-care routine that I would do for myself in the morning. As an empath and someone who helps to heal and nurture and all, literally all the things, it takes so much of my energy, and I was operating for so many years from a place of burnout, from a place of not well-being or not having the vibrancy. I was lacking all of those qualities and just giving them, like a half-ass giving them was the best that I could give them. But if I look back, I mean, it was only half of what was possible for me. So I've operated in a way that I didn't take care of myself. I've pushed through burnout. I have hustled my way to that next dollar. And all of that was draining of my energy. So after my mom had her stroke, I realized when she finally learned how to speak again, she said, or I asked her, why did you do this to yourself? And she just said to me, because everybody needed something. And that is what sent me on this journey of inward self-discovery to figure out, well, what the hell do I need? And who's going to give me that if I'm the one giving it to everyone else? And so as a healer, as a leader, if you're listening, you're one of those. I guarantee it. You have to take the responsibility to give to yourself. If you're the person giving to everyone else in your life, you think they're going to give back? Probably not. And so we let them off the hook by doing the work ourselves.
When I'm thinking about what it is specifically that I need, the moment that I wake up and I'm done being generous, I'm done looking at BRIT, I'm done being in that glow of the morning, for me, I start immediately breathing. The very first thing that I do in my morning is start taking very long, slow, deep breaths. I should have probably been doing that all night long, but I have no guarantee of that. So I immediately start waking up and focusing on my breath. What that does is it centers every single one of my thoughts. I am completely relaxed. I am completely calm. I do not check my phone because I don't keep it in the bedroom. I'm not checking the phone till the absolute last minute that I have to. Anyone that had an emergency in the night didn't call my phone number. They didn't text me. They didn't rely on me. They knew that I'm not the guy. And so I'm off the hook in a lot of ways. I know that people will catch up with me as they can. And so I don't have to have that kind of responsibility. So the morning time is just me. It's just me and relax. As a matter of fact, BRIT and I share very little of the morning together. That's her time to be alone. That's my time to be alone. And we typically do it in separate spaces in the house. Sometimes we're in the same room, but we rarely talk to each other. It's just very relaxed. Just, hey, it's a big hug as soon as she wakes up. She always wakes up after me. So she comes running in always and hugs me. And it's a hug like you haven't, it's like if you've ever seen the movies where people see each other in airports that they haven't seen in like 40 years and they're like long lost lovers and they have this huge past together. BRIT runs to me like that every morning, like I'm the most important thing in the world. And so if you have somebody in your life who you can connect with like that, do that. But it's just that simple gesture. I ask, how did you sleep? And that's it. That's all that happens. And then Britt goes off and does her thing. I go off and do my thing. And so the morning time is only about, what do I do to nurture myself? How can I show Britt that I love her? But what can I do to nurture myself? So when you're waking up and thinking about it, start thinking about you. I realize that if you have kids, you have to plan for them. So there's a lot that goes into that. But a lot of that you can bulk prep, you can bulk do, you can think about that ahead of time. What is that thing that you specifically need? And it doesn't ever have to be a lot. You don't have to give yourself 10 hours. If you can take 5 to 10 intentional minutes by yourself, you can get a whole lot of nurturing done in that time if you're intentional about it. If you're trying to do it while you're checking your phone, if you're trying to do it while you're hustling around, none of it will happen. You have to come from that really relaxed, soft space.
So 10 intentional minutes of something that you need in the morning. And we could give you the full laundry list, and actually we do inside the Elevated Life Club, of how we shape our morning, what minerals we're drinking, how much water we're drinking with lemon juice, like what type of yoga we're doing, what type of breath work and meditation. Like, we give you all those tools inside the club. So I don't think that this podcast is really about like, okay, Chris likes to read these books and I read my tarot. Like, I think it's the idea on why it's so important to set this time up for yourself so that you're not being selfish. You're actually setting yourself up for success to be better at what you do or how you perform throughout the day. And as Chris mentioned earlier, it's what you do before you go to sleep and what you do as soon as you wake up. So what you do before you go to sleep is you're basically priming your subconscious mind to get ready for the day. And when you sleep and dream, you're processing everything that you've experienced for the day. So if you've set yourself up for success, at the end of the day, I want you to congratulate yourself. Thank yourself for, hey, I did my best today, and let go of any of the stresses or the worries or the overthinking that you normally do when you lay down and go to bed. Give yourself permission or some type of routine that you can do. For example, Chris and I have an alarm every night at 9 o'clock, and anyone who knows us and that alarm goes off around 9, they look at us and say, tea time. So have some kind of routine evening ritual that helps you to celebrate and close the day. This is where the cell phone goes away. This is where we start to do some evening like wind down stretching, like yin yoga, so that we can relax our body and remove some of that stress that we've picked up from helping and serving our clients and the people in our community. And then from there, you've got your physical, and you want to have some kind of mental checklist. Okay, here's what I did great today. Here's what I'm appreciative of. Here's what I can do better tomorrow. And then that's how you help your mind to relax in the evening and wind down and not just overthink all night.
Yeah, one way to think about this is that if you're to think of sleep as this base layer, imagine that sleep were your actual natural state. And so to get out of sleep, you need to walk up out of a staircase. You need to walk up this staircase, and that gives you into the normal everyday life from sleep. And so your morning routine should be you walking up that staircase. It starts off slower and then slowly ramps up. So you're doing very little, like breath work, like meditation early on, and then slowly scaling yourself up to where you're doing more movement, you're talking to more people, you're involving yourself more in parts of the world. Same goes for the evening routine. You're walking yourself down those stairs back into sleep. And so you could start off at a peak moment where you're engaging a lot with people, and then it should be a constant slowdown. You should be slowly going into rest. If you stay talking to people, amped up, energized, having caffeine, being on a computer, distracted with all these things, you didn't do the walk down, which guess what? That means you don't get good sleep. These staircases of habitual routines are so important to the development of our personal self, to the development of our spiritual self. They give us a better chance at having more financial abundance. They give us a better chance to connect in our relationships. We don't feel as absent in our life anymore. But if you neglect these, and these are small routines, these are real basic things that anybody can add to their lifestyle. And we're not talking about rocket science. This is really basic. But if you'll add these, especially intentionally, if you'll think to yourself, what do I need the most? And pick small things. Like don't have a list of 1,000. Just pick certain things, a few things that work for you. 2, 3 things is fantastic. You don't have to go crazy. Pick 2 or 3 things, both in the morning and both at night, that are meaningful to you, that slow you down, to get your brain to relax. Maybe it's a certain song you like. Maybe it's reading a little bit in a book or something that you enjoy. Do things that work for you. You can set it up so your body's primed in the perfect way and you get the right amount of circadian rhythms and REM sleep and all that. But that might overcomplicate it. That might be thinking too hard, which made a lot of people not do it at all because it's too overwhelming. If you'll just get a few things in the morning to anchor yourself and a few things at night, you can start to have the kind of lifestyle that you want because you've made an intentional moment for just you. So many people we hear have not given enough to themselves over their lifetime. They have just freely given to so many people. Sometimes it was for love, sometimes it was for money, sometimes it was for appreciation, but for some reason we've just given and we forgot to give back. We forgot to take some a little bit or to give some to ourselves. We always are looking to the other people to give us some, and we need to take responsibility and say, oh, I give this part to me. Sorry, I can't do that because I got to do this thing over here for me. I need to be replenished, and this allows us to do that. It's so smart to start adding this into your lifestyle. If you haven't dialed this in for yourself, because we all have routines, but the question is, have you dialed it in for yourself? Have you made a valiant effort to try something and say, okay, well, that didn't work. What can I swap out for this one that may be more meaningful to me? And sometimes you have to update these. We update our routines. It's not the same. I'm not doing the same stuff I was doing 2 years ago. Some of it's the same that I really like. It adds a lot of value to my life. But I'm not doing all the stuff. That'd be crazy. I'm doing some of it. And some of it is really nourishing to me now.
So your actionable takeaway from today is to make a list of what lights you up. This is a lesson straight out of Shine School. Write down all the things that you know would help fill your cup in the morning and in the evening. Give yourself this list. Maybe you make a note in your phone. That way, every morning when you're building this consistent habit, this new routine, you have somewhere to look and go, okay, what do I need this morning? Because sometimes when we're out of practice and out of touch of giving to ourselves, like Chris just mentioned, we don't even know what we need. So take a moment after you listen to this podcast. Pretend you're still listening to an extra 5 more minutes of this podcast. Pull out your notes on your phone and write out that list. Here's the things that I know would make me feel better starting my day and ending my day. Brainstorm as much as you can think of. It doesn't have to be perfect. And as you come across new ideas or new TikTok inspirations, throw it on the list. And as Chris mentioned, it'll change. Now you have a list of what lights you up that you can constantly refer to so that you build in that consistent self-care routine morning and night.
So we hope you've enjoyed this episode on routines, and we hope it's gotten you thinking about what's important in your life right now. What is it that can really nourish you? Hope you make that list, and we hope we see you in the elevated life. If you need more help and support on routines and habits, ways that you can set your life up to make success easy, all this shouldn't be hard for us. We should be able to have our dreams and goals without it being such a challenge. So if you're looking to pull back the obstacles this year and have a team that really supports you, that shows up for you, that encourages you, that gets you excited about your goals in life, come join us in the Elevated Life Club. We hope you have the best year. We hope you start off having this be like, man, this was the year where I really did it. This was the year that I decided to give back to myself. This was the year that I decided to make it happen for me and for my family and the people around me. Make that decision. Just start this year by having that. And we hope we see you in the next episode. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life podcast. If you loved this episode, please share that love by leaving us a 5-star review and spreading the good vibes on social. You can tag us at the Elevated Life Club. Want more wisdom from us? Become an elevator by joining us inside our monthly membership club at theelevatedlifeclub.com to discover mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a live group coaching masterclass, guided meditations, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
It has all the tools, coaching, and community you need to level up, progress every month, and keep going in every area of your life consistently over the long term.
Join us in the club and start your transformation today by signing up at theelevatedlifeclub.com.